Okay, it's that time again. You feel me? We talked about Giant Somali before, right? Well, he's catch up. If you, in case you didn't know, he was found. Well, the court trial ended, and Johnny is right now is behind bars. He's in prison, so he has 6 months to go, and I guess technically almost 5 months left. Maybe I'm not sure. No, no, no. He's got still got 6 months to go, or 5 months and some change, whatever. And he tried to set up an appeal, which, to be honest, the appeal process takes so long that by the time Johnny would have gotten out of prison, he would still have to be in holding for his appeal to go through, waiting for his appeal to go through. But he would have already been out of prison, so there was no need for him to set an appeal. But even if he did take it back, it doesn't matter because he's got other people that set an appeal against him. Like the prosecution appealed and saying that Johnny deserves more time. And oh my, I forgot the girl that he did the girl that he did the deep fake about. She also set an appeal saying that even though, because remember the deep fake was kind of thrown out, not really thrown out, but it wasn't added to the charges. It wasn't realized because the judge said that Bonbon didn't show that she was significantly hurt by the deep fake. You feel me? But Bonbon came back with an appeal saying just because she didn't show that she was hurt doesn't mean that she didn't feel that damage. She just reacted to it differently, you know? So she had an appeal and the prosecution had an appeal. So it doesn't matter. Johnny still has to wait for their appeal, which of course could tack on more time. Once they have him in the slammer, they can, and then of course there's like another person that's coming up with charges saying that they want to add those charges to Johnny Somali's case, which could also extend his time some more. But I digress. Last time we talked about Johnny Somali, he had a letter that was leaked, and he pretty much tried to act like everything was good and great, when in reality it's kind of like that meme with the smiley face mask, and then but the person behind is crying. It was kind of like that. Excuse me. So why do I come to you today? Well, today we have another letter by Johnny Somali that was leaked. Excuse me. I thought that since he was in prison, I thought, this is gonna be the end for the Johnny Somali videos for a while, but nope. He continues to give us content even from behind bars, my guy. You feel me, fam? So let's check out this video by Legal Mindset. As always, links will be in the description below, and see what Johnny is trying to say in this other letter. Oh yeah. Also, in case you forgot, Hank might end up suing Johnny for money that he owes while Johnny was out of prison and Hank was taking care of him. He was taking care of Johnny's legal fees, Johnny's food supply, Johnny's alcohol. Well, he said he never bought Johnny alcohol, so never mind. But he was taking care of the legal fees, the food supply, the rent, letting him stay in his spot. You know what I'm saying? So there's it's at least around more than 10K that Hank spent on Johnny. So Hank might end up suing Johnny for that money as well. All right, now let's get to the video by Legal Mindset. Links will be in the description below. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get it.
Exposed and how he's Johnny Somali has had his addiction exposed and how he is going to suffer in Korean jail in his latest prison letter. We're gonna get that today on the Legal Mindset. We teach
Somali's addiction exposed.
Be your own judge.
Legal Mindset.
As you all know, we have been tracking the case of Ramzi Khalid Ismail, aka Johnny Somali, since the beginning 2 years ago.
Yep.
And he is now sitting in a Seoul detention center, the Nambu Detention Center.
And according to one of the people that Atuzi had on his live stream when he went to Johnny Somali's court hearing, Johnny Somali, well, there's a ladder, kind of like a ranking system in the Korean prison. And whoever is on the lowest rung of the ladder, the lowest rank, has to sleep next to the toilet, which is like a hole in the floor that people just gotta squat over. So Johnny Somali is obviously on the lowest ladder, the lowest rung of the ladder, lowest ranking, because of who he is and what he's done. It's not because he's a foreigner, but it's because of what the things he's done and how he's treated their country while he was there. Completely disrespectful and he's just being a trash human. I'm glad that Koreans don't look at one person and see everybody from that person as a whole. Instead, they look at the individual and they only think about the individual. So if I go to Korea, they're not gonna look at me and be like, "Oh shit, another nigga here in Korea. He's probably gonna end up acting like Johnny." People in the South would do that shit. You know, I grew up in Mississippi. People in the South would do that shit. Koreans won't. So I'm cool with Koreans. They're cool with me.
As his appeal is ongoing,
they're not cool with Johnny.
That will determine what happens to him, whether it's extended even longer.
Okay, so it's not a hole in the floor.
If he's sent to this forced labor prison, that's all going to be determined over the coming months. And the only window we really have into Somali's thoughts and what's going on is these prison letters, which are being leaked. And
how do these prison letters keep getting leaked, yo? It's like Johnny writes a letter hoping that, entrusting that the system will get his letter to whom it's supposed to go to without leaking it. Now, obviously, the cops look through letters because they need to justify everything and verify it, make sure it's good to pass on. But how do these letters keep getting leaked to the public? Like, what the fuck? People really don't like Johnny in there. I don't blame him.
Exposed as we go. Now, we've already gone over one of those letters, but we have a latest letter which goes deeper into his thoughts and what's going on with him. So let's break into all of that. So here we go. We have this, and I'm going to be reading this for you because the handwriting is a little bit messy. So Somali starts the letter by thanking him and giving the information for his commissary.
Thank you, by the way, Andrew. Or Andrew Esquire. Yeah, Andrew, Mr. Esquire. Thank you for reading this, even though Johnny's handwriting is a little messy. Thank you for taking the chance to strain your eyes and read the letter for us. I appreciate you, man.
Obviously, we're not going to put that information out there so people aren't sending Johnny funds.
Yeah, we don't need that.
He asked for Game of Thrones for a paperback. He says that would help him to kill time with a fiction novel. But then he really
why don't you work on meditating? Work on bettering yourself. Work on trying to figure out who you are and why you were such a fucking trash human recently. So in recent years. Like, I doubt you were like this your entire life. You should figure your shit out. Meditate, work on yourself. Maybe start exercising while you're in prison. It could be a chance to do some good and to start changing your life around instead of just waiting for time to pass.
Gets into the meat of it. So he says, I will answer your questions honestly, but to be upfront, since I do not really know your identity or motive, I will have to be careful what I write. I will not lie, but some things I cannot fully express while still on Korean soil. So let's stop right there. This person is just a random person that's writing
Johnny letters.
We don't really know the intentions of this person. Obviously, this person is turning these things over to the public, so they want them to be.
Yeah, they're the ones leaking the fucking shit. Okay, well, now we figured out how the letters are getting leaked. Because the letters are in response to some random people that ask them questions.
Leaked. Now, this could be a person that is pro-Somali, anti-Somali. We really don't know. But clearly, they want this information to get out there. Now, whether or not Johnny knows this, whether or not this was planned, we can't say. But it is fair to say that these are things that Johnny is willing to say regardless. He's just willing to go out there and say no matter what. To continue on there, he says, also, if you could include an unused stamp in your next letter, I can write you back a lot quicker. I was very curious of the social media and traditional media coverage of my case and sentencing.
He's got to make sure people are talking about him. Otherwise, everything he did is for nothing. He has to know if people are talking about him, bro.
I would really appreciate if you could screenshot or print some of the articles in English or the top Reddit or X threads, right? Twitter X threads. So stop right there. Johnny Somali exposed the first thing he's really going for. The thing he really cares about here is his social media appearance. Johnny Somali, if you guys don't know, Ramsey Khalid Ismail is addicted to what people are saying about him. He's constantly watching every video.
So that's the addiction that we're talking about in this video. Yeah, he Well, I mean, a lot of streamers and content creators are, well, mostly going to worry about what people are thinking and what people are saying about them. You know, not everybody's like Asmongold, where it's like, I don't care what people think about me. But there's a lot of people like Johnny Somali who's like, what are people saying about me? Like they'll treat it like it's crap. They're like, man, I gotta know what people are saying about me, man. What are they saying? What's Reddit saying? What's Twitter saying? Just can you take some screenshots, man, and just mail it to me, man? Can you include those in your next letter, man? I gotta know what people are saying. Like it's fucking ridiculous, bro. Is it really that serious? I can't believe it gets to the point where that becomes the reason why you do the things that you do in order to try and get clout and to stay relevant in social media. They constantly have people talking about you because it's an addiction. It's an addiction to, I don't want to say clout, but I guess it is an addiction to clout, but it's an addiction to having people's name in your mouth. I mean, having your name in other people's mouths. Like, that's chasing the dragon, bro. That's gotta be it, man. I thought like love was an addiction, but like wanting love is being an addiction, but love is just a drug, and I don't want to ever take drugs again. But that kind of addiction, that that could get you killed or in prison.
Video on him, etc. He watched all of my videos, was always there to seethe and hit a dislike button. So one thing I've said about this is his punishment is being away from the internet, away from social media, away from being able to track this. He just has a TV. He doesn't have anything else in there, and that's really just Korean programming. He's not getting Johnny Somali news 24/7 and being able to think he's the center of the world because people are putting bad press out on him. Part of that addiction is
to Johnny, any press was a good press, even the quote unquote bad press.
Is cut now. He's not able to get that. This only is fed. His attention is only given through these letters, and he is already hurting, and it has barely been a month behind bars. And you can see he goes in the next page here even deeper into what he wants and exactly what he thinks is important.
God damn. He's like, let me make sure. He's like, this is my only chance. I gotta scratch this addiction. Let me make sure I give them a detailed list. Let me make sure I really make sure they understand what I want them to say to me. I gotta know what people are saying about me. Ooh. I can picture him in his cell, just rocking back and forth in a corner, and all the other cellmates are just watching him like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? And Johnny's just like, what'd you say about me? Huh? I need clout. You talking about me? Are you guys talking about me over there? You know what I'm saying? Some random shit like that.
He says, or even YouTube reactions, even Korean sites translated in English. So he's fiending so hard.
God damn.
He wants anything. He just wants that hit of social media validation. He says the Korean opinions would be interesting to read, but I would like to see Western and Korean opinions. I heard it made the New York Times, so I would love to have that too specifically. So somebody told him, somehow it got out there. Maybe this was, circulating at some point. Maybe there's a copy of the New York Times in the prison. Who knows? Something like that. Now, that article was absolutely horrible. We reviewed it. It had some information that wasn't entirely accurate or wasn't the full picture. It also painted him in a very neutral light, which I think was very weird to do. Perhaps because the New York Times is mainly something that is for rather elderly people that aren't aware of the internet, so they don't have as much context.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who it's for. Like, put the fucking truth in that shit. So even the elderly people need to know Johnny Somali was an asshole who deserves worse than what he got.
Next here, but he wants that information because he's addicted to thinking he is the most important person in the world. A key factor about these nuisance streamers is they think they are the center of the universe. Says it was on TV for a couple days in all the cells, and we have Korean newspaper clippings here, but it would be...
Oh, wow. So they do have Korean newspaper clippings. And it was on TV, so they do have TV in their cells. Oh, but he's still looking for more. He's like, it's not enough. It's not enough. I need more.
Curious to see the general...
I bet you he's going to, like, he's gonna once he gets those clippings, if he gets those newspaper clippings and stuff, he's gonna hold on to them tight, take him to his little special corner where he pleasures himself while reading about himself. I bet it gets to that point. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets to that point for Johnny Somali.
Consensus of the outcome. All of the guards and inmates know who I am. So he's getting this false importance because they know who I am. So he thinks, oh, he's so important. He's some sort of VIP.
He's not.
He's his living situation. At the moment, I'm staying in a cell with other foreign inmates, but I have been given the option to stay alone if I would like. I think most foreign inmates are Chinese. So he's in there with a bunch of Chinese people. He has the option of going into solitary, essentially. You know, if he wants to go into a solitary.
I don't think Johnny Somali could do solitary because we've already seen how addicted he is to what people think of him.
Which would not be as preferable, trust me, if he wants to go there. He also said treatment of facilities. I've honestly been treated very well at the detention center and have tried to accommodate my needs to make me feel comfortable. I've been given the option to eat a foreigner meal, and that is tailored to my dietary restrictions. And I can choose what to eat from the Korean meal, which is surprisingly good. The medical care is good, and the general living conditions are not all that bad. I am not in a prison. It is different. A word in Korean is gochujang, something like that. So this is an important point. And I do believe, by the way, that maybe they give him an option of another meal, but that meal is not going to be great. This is definite cope on that quality, you know, saying, okay, yeah, it's surprisingly good. No. This is not, gourmet food. This is absolutely the very, very simple meal.
I want that damn plush. Legal Mindset, Andrew Esquire. If you can, just float me one of those plushies, bro. I tried to get some from your website, but they were sold out.
But on that point specifically about not being in a prison, he is not being fully informed of what's going down. Previously, he could watch my videos and find out exactly what's going down because we're working with multiple people that are insiders, people that have vast experience in the Korean legal system. We know exactly what's going on.
Right, because in these letters, Johnny so far hasn't mentioned anything about the other people's appeal or anything like that.
He is unaware of this distinction between a detention center and a prison. And he doesn't know that he's being held here during the pendency of his appeal before he gets sent to the prison where he'd be forced to do labor, right? He doesn't understand this is a separate section. No one's explained this to him. Now, mind you, he just fired, or rather his private lawyer, quit, left, etc. The one that was formerly funded by his roommate, Hank, and former ally, who is now turned a little bit of frenemy, if you might say. That's gone. He's with a public defender. And in Korea, the thing is, lawyers are only going to do that bare minimum that is required unless you push them usually to ask more questions or go further. They're just going to give you what they need to give you and not anymore. So they're not going to go out of their way to explain everything that's going on, the entire system, unless you're actually going there and pressing them with questions and actually asking them the right things, which Johnny Somali has no idea how to do, particularly with the loss of his ally, Hank. So
he doesn't speak Korean, and his lawyer doesn't really speak English like that.
He goes, it's pretty low security and like a summer camp. We just eat, go to recess, work out, watch TV, and read the newspaper. There's no forced labor. We just relax and do nothing all day because he's not yet in that labor prison.
Oh man, he really doesn't know. There's no forced labor. He's like, I bet he's sitting there chilling, waking up every day like, ha 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 ha. Even when I lose, I still win. They have no clue how chill it is here. They have no clue how easy this life is. Man doesn't know shit yet. Oh wait, hold on.
Coming next after the appeal. So if he, for example, gets sentenced to a year or 2 years, the sentence is increased, then he would go on to that labor prison after the end of his appeals. He says foreigners are not allowed to work or be in a cell with Korean nationals. Korean Americans can be put in with foreigners. That's very true. And that is also true that they can't work. And that's actually something that in the prison, there's some jobs that actually people find, hey, they're a way to kill time, a way to do something different. He can't do that because he doesn't speak Korean. Yes, I have social interaction with other inmates every day within my cell block, and during my outside time. I also interact with guards and inmate staff that can speak English. I am like a celebrity inmate here and treated very well by all the inmates who shake my hand and always say hello or yell Somali from the cells and cells through the windows. I've had inmates young and old shake my hand and even ask for autographs, which I did 4 or 5.
That's a lie. I'm thinking it's a lie. I'm actually kind of hoping it's a lie because I'd rather not. I'd rather people in prison not be. Well, if they're already in prison, they might have some similar mindset to Johnny Somali and say they might, be like impressed by him. But I doubt people are like, "Can I get your autograph, dude?"
So far, that might pop up online, so I drew some nice art. The staff are always talking to me sometimes with a translator and making sure I'm safe and okay, and the staff tell me I should live a nice, kind life and treat people better in the future. Some of the inmates have even said that they are my fans, and I have made good friends already. This is exactly what's wrong with Somali. Somali is treating validation, particularly validation from criminals, as positive reinforcement, as something good. And this is a problem with him. He doesn't really care where this validation comes from, even though it's coming from the most degenerate, the worst of society, the people that are absolutely at the bare bottom.
Yeah, but to Somali, like I said before, all press is good press, even the negative, especially the negative press. At least to Somali, that's how it is.
The absolute dregs, which is his Discord, these other people that support him online, the various people that may back him up. Even though it's the absolute worst, he doesn't care. He doesn't care where that validation is coming from as long as he is getting validated. He's just...
Also, how come nobody in this detention center has told Johnny Somali that this isn't actually prison? This is the detention center. Like, I guess he didn't ask, or he has no way of asking. But if some of them are speaking English, like he mentioned, then I guess the topic of it being a detention center and not actually prison never came up. I guess Johnny just never mentioned, hey, how come we're not doing any forced labor? To Johnny, that would be like acting as the kid in school who says, hey, we have to take up our homework. And you're like, you son of a bitch, man, keep your mouth shut. What's wrong with you? But he's over here being the goody two shoes. So just to Johnny Somali, that's the same as doing that. So he's not going to ask about forced labor because then he probably thinks they'll give him forced labor. Oh, yeah, you're right. You are supposed to be doing forced labor, aren't you? Yeah, right this way. But so I'm guessing that's why he doesn't know anything about. He doesn't know that he's in detention and not prison right now. I'm guessing that's why.
Getting that attention, and for Somali, attention is his addiction. He also says here, and this is most important, that the Korean legal system, I am a little bit uncomfortable to talk about this topic in detail. This is because he doesn't want exposed how much he doesn't know and exactly how wrong he is. He, I think, has an idea that these things are getting leaked and getting out there, and he doesn't want his ignorance to get out. So he says, as I do not want to jeopardize my freedom further, I will say that the American system, while flawed, is infinitely more fair, and leave it at that. In my personal experience, the Japanese justice system is more fair, but the correction facilities are worse than Korean. So this is actually fairly accurate from all of my comrades in Japan that explain this to me and have talked about this. The Korean penal system is generally more Spartan, less good than the Korean system.
Japanese.
But it's not saying
he meant to say Japanese.
A matter of degree. It's not.
For those of you who are just listening, he flashed the word Japanese with an asterisk, so he meant to say that.
It's once again, this is not paradise. This is not something that's absolutely fun. But knocking the Korean legal system is because he's failed to actually take the time to engage with people who understand it and have conversations to educate himself. He relied on flawed advice. He relied on single source. He relied on people that weren't experts in the Korean criminal system. And that has proven his flaw all along. So let's go over to my judgment. So in judgment, Ramsey is absolutely addicted to social media and his public image. We see that through his prison letters. And the longer he is behind bars and kept away from that is the better. We got to get, like with any addict, they need time away from this to come down, to drop off of this addiction and make themselves right. As much time as he can get in jail is better because he will not have access to that and his public image will eventually fade away. Also, it confirms he is not receiving accurate or comprehensive information on his legal status. Now, this is very important because it goes to his appeal. He is not going to be making the right decisions, the right strategy, and really the right thinking without knowing everything he knows and needs to know about the Korean legal system. And the public defender he's assigned is only going to give him the bare minimum. So Somali is probably going to be surprised when they tell him, which he probably doesn't know, that he's going to have to stay in prison in this detention center longer than 6 months because of his appeal. He hasn't received that bad news yet. Oh my God,
bruh. So what would it be like to be hold on, let me finish. There's only a little bit left. But what would it... Okay, I'll finish. What would it be like to be a fly on the wall when he does find out that there's only that because of his appeal, he still has to sit there a little longer?
And that's going to be an absolute surprise. Somali does not know what's coming, and I think that's an absolute glorious thing. But I want to know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will catch you on the next one.
Yeah. What do you think it would be like to be a fly? Wouldn't you want to be a fly on the wall when Somali finds out that he still has to do his 6 months time? He's just been waiting in that detainment center because of his appeal. Like, what do you think is gonna happen, bro? He's gonna be pissed. And like, obviously, he's gonna want to ask if the time he spent in the detention center is going towards the time that he was supposed to spend. It doesn't. So, how much of a freak out, how much of a rage out, how much of a crash out do you think he would do when he found out? Chat. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. And yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And thanks for watching. And peace and much love to you.